Hi everyone, welcome. Today, July 27th, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm John Khosravi, Managing Attorney of the JQK Immigration Law Firm, coming to you live to discuss immigration Q&A as I do every Monday through Thursday. Mondays on Facebook, JQK Law Firm, every Monday through Thursday consistently on TikTok. Immigration Lawyer John is the screen handle. But the recordings of this live on YouTube.com. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Press like and click that bell icon so you get notifications because I have tons of information, cutting edge and up-to-date news events coming at you regarding the U.S. immigration process. So we're going to get started with that in a second as the questions roll in. But as a reminder, please go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. I have the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook. It's 30 plus pages where you can find the information of how a marriage green card case works, depending on if you're in the United States or outside, and the documents you need for it, all that kind of stuff. Just go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook and get it there. And with that, let's get it started. All right, everyone, thanks again. Questions will be probably trickling in. The regulars are coming in. We have a good amount of people online right now. Just to start, I wanted to mention this situation with deferred action for child arrivals, or DACA. Every day it's something new. So the Supreme Court said President Trump has to restart the process of getting rid of the program if he wants to, because he didn't do it properly, the procedures for getting rid of it. And so that meant that people could start filing for DACA, and people have been getting receipted. That means they filed the Form I-281D with the I-765. That's the application for deferred action for child arrivals along with the work permit, and they've been getting receipts. However, USCIS does not have a procedure for processing them, and people have sued, and a district court said, well, let's give them 30 days to figure it out. So who knows what's going to happen by that point. It's a really bizarre situation. We're going through every day. It's something different. It doesn't mean you shouldn't file for a DACA or something like that, but you should consult with an attorney to know all the repercussions of this decision and how it affects them. But there's no real answers to a lot of these things because it's an ongoing battle going on between both sides. So every time we come, we don't know what's going to be happening next. Just be prepared for big changes that happen. Okay, so perhaps ask, can we expect H4 EAD renewal biometrics rescheduled? I see ASCs are already open. What you can expect is the unexpected. Biometrics is the fingerprinting appointment. H4 is a spouse of an H1B holder, and they potentially could get a work permit depending on what the application process is for their spouse. Whether they'll get biometrics in this scenario or any other scenario, it's up to your local biometric center what's going to happen. There's no exact answer to that. You just have to wait and see, and that's about it. And not only is it the biometrics, but if you're doing an extension as an H4 now, on the I-539, they made a requirement to do biometrics for that too for the last couple of months. So all the biometrics are hit by it. It's going to depend on what city you're in. Some cities will open later for biometrics, some sooner. For example, I didn't even know what city you're in. So this is why when it comes to legal stuff, you have to know very detailed information. But even with that, it's up to the situation on the ground, how they're dealing with COVID-19. There are employees there too that they're worried about. The interactions are really close with the people who are doing biometrics and the employees there. So there's health risk, and they want to be safe as well. I understand you want to get your work permit and all that stuff started sooner, but the reality is safety first. So you just have to be patient, and when they get to you, they get to you. Hopefully it won't be later than you like it to be, but that's that. All right, Madigan says, if I'm a derivative in an asylum case, do I need to do separate EAD application or will it get automatically? No, every person always has to file for their own EAD or employment authorization document. You don't get it, you're not a derivative automatically on EAD. You have to submit your own application if that's the case. So no, you won't be automatically part of the principal's EAD application. Thanks for all the regulars who are joining. Fadi, thanks for sharing the current. Maheen says, hope you're staying safe. Any idea for embassies reopening? Well, that's up to each embassy. As I talked about the biometrics appointments earlier, it's the same situation when it comes to embassies. Some are opening, some are not. I have gotten a K-1 visa approved in an embassy. There are a couple doing immigrant visas for spousal cases. Some E-2s are being issued, but it depends on the country, and some embassies are issuing some visas, some are not. Some are hit by different types of travel bans. So even if the embassy is open, I don't know what your specific case is, and if it's subject to a travel ban, which would make you unlikely to get the visa anyway, so they wouldn't even schedule the appointment. So first of all, I need to know a lot more information from you, which embassy you're talking about, what kind of case you have, and what country you're from. But at the same time, you know, it's up to them whenever they get around to it. So you have to be patient. Check their website. If you're doing a non-immigrant visa, check their scheduling on US Visa Info website. If the embassy you're working with or consulate you're working with participates in that website. You might not know what that is, but if you don't, then consult with an immigration attorney to see what's going on with your case. But there are no answers to these things. When is this going to open? When is that going to happen? Everything is up in the air on their discretion, and so you just have to be patient. Abdul Shah says, I asked the USCIS for an expedite, and they denied it. Can I request expedite again? You could always try, but they're probably going to deny it again unless you have good information or good evidence. You could try contacting your local congressperson for help and saying, this is really urgent, please help. But with the way USCIS is acting nowadays, it's going to be hard to get anything done. Vin says, hi, I'm on an H-1B in the United States right now. My wife is in India, don't have H-4 stamping. So we had to see what's going on and whether an exception applies for the travel bans for your spouse or not. Definitely consult an immigration attorney in private, Vin. That's a better way to go about it. Raji says, I'm in the U.S. How long does it take to get a work permit after marrying a green card holder? There is no set amount of time nowadays that could say it'll take this long. I wouldn't rely on it, expect it happening anytime soon. You could try going to USCIS.gov and checking their case processing times, but there's no reliable answer. I'm going to stop answering these questions related to how long, because I keep repeating myself that there's no answer, and I don't want to fill up the show with all this kind of stuff. So if I see questions about time, I'll just say, you know, check with the government. I'll just give a quick answer like that. Sandeep, hi sir, hi to you as well. Vin says, can she go for stamping and enter U.S. after embassy as a reopening? Vin, as I mentioned, it's not just you go to stamp. We got to check to see whether any bans apply or whether your spouse could get the visa or not. So this is case specific. You should consult with an immigration attorney in private about your question. User 86 says, my R1 visa expires in September 2020, but I have an extension until 2022. Is it safe to travel to Pakistan? I don't know. That's a personal decision if you think it's safe, whether it's for personal reasons or immigration-wise. I would need to know more about your case. But at the end of the day, it's a risk it takes if you leave the country. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So when you say it's safe, you're asking me guess in the future what's going to happen. If I was going to guess, I go guess in the lottery and make some money, not on a live show right here guessing what's going to happen with your life. That's the last thing I would do. So don't go for guessing and this kind of stuff. Just, you know, you got to count your risk, consult with the attorney in private to see what your risks are, and then see what risks you want to take. Oloya on Facebook says, can I renew my EAD while my appeal is pending? Well, Ole, I don't know what kind of appeal you have. Probably your case is denied, I'm assuming. And if it's denied, no, you can't renew your EAD because you're appealing it. But again, there's too many factors here that I don't know anything about in your case. So you should consult with an immigration attorney in private to see what kind of appeal, what kind of case you have. And if you are filing an appeal, you should have an attorney. You shouldn't be doing it on your own. And that attorney can answer that question for you. Mahi says, Australian Embassy. Good luck, Mahi. As I said, I don't know. Abdul Shah says, when was I denied for my expedited? When I haven't seen any proof of humanitarian reasons. Abdul Shah, your question isn't presented right, but I don't know what to tell you. You know, I told you when you asked, we've been talking about this for weeks. It's just, it is what it is. If they're not asking me proof, I don't know what to tell you. Yes, that's maybe consult an attorney in private about that. Maya says, I'm actually waiting for my husband's green card interview, and we're in Australia at the moment. Okay, good luck. Nazir says, hi, if I called the USCIS office in San Diego asking about rescheduling interview, is that okay? Well, you can't call the office. There's no one to call there. You can only call 1-800 number, but I'll give 99.9% that should will make no difference, but you know, 99.9% means there's a 0.01%. There's a million people in the position you're in, so 0.01%, maybe there's some chance there. Sahib says, my friend came on a K1 fiancé visa and got his 2-year green card. Unfortunately, he divorced. Can he, I'm assuming you're saying, can he keep the green card? Is it a good time for the permanent residents to leave the country? Okay, so, yeah, I don't have the rest of your question, but potentially your friend could keep his green card if he got a 2-year green card, but he needs to consult with an attorney because we got to document that the relationship was real and not a fake relationship to be able to keep the green card. Hashim says, is it a good time for permanent residents to leave the country? I don't know what you mean. To leave the country, do you mean on vacation? You know, generally yes, but I need to know I can't advise someone in some hypothetical thing because it might be okay for one person and it might not be okay for another person. So your question is too general. I need to know specific facts, and once we get to a certain extent of detail, I need to talk with that person. Now, Hashmi, if your friend went and attacked somebody violently and has a warrant out for the arrest, if they leave, they might not be able to re-enter the United States. So as you see, it's just too broad of a question. Hashmi says, after all, what's going on with the immigration world? I just answered that question. Karen says, is the immigration often open or not? Is immigration open? Yes, it's open depending on what kind of issue or case you have. They are accepting cases, but they're not doing in-person interviews in many cases for green card cases, but they are for citizenship, for example. But those are backed up, so not everyone's getting their appointment notice immediately. But generally, it depends on what kind of service you need and whether that service is available or not. So you should consult with an attorney in private for guidance on that. Let's see. Nazir, thank you for your answer. You're welcome. I appreciate it. Yeah, so fortunately, I know it's hard to understand how this stuff works out because I get the same questions over and over again. But USCIS is open. It's accepting cases. They're reviewing them. I'm getting approvals. But when it comes to scheduling and stuff, that's not up to me, and they're not giving us information on that. So go to the source, go to USCIS.gov and check that website regularly. Go to the embassies, check that website, and that's where you can find the cutting edge information. Honestly, you won't find any information there because it's not sharing that information, but I'm the second person to get that information. That's the primary source. So when it comes to all this stuff, you got to go there, and that's the place to get the information for. But thanks you all for asking. I know it's an important question. Now, if you haven't already, please check out the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook at marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. You'll find a plethora, massive amount of information about the green card process there. It's probably be interesting if you're not even doing family or marriage-based case, but if you're especially doing marriage-based case, that's the way to go. And also check out the YouTube page. It's growing fast. It has the most amount of videos being posted out of any immigration firm or immigration lawyer doing videos. It's JQK Law Firm, the YouTube page, but also on Facebook and on Instagram. We have samples of my approval notices I post on Instagram that have the timetable, so it gives people an idea of how long things work. Now, just note, results vary. Every office is different. Every case is different. But since it's a question I get a lot, I'll be okay, this is my experience. Your case might be different, but this is the timelines. I'm getting cases approved out for adjustment of status, I-130s, K-1 fiancés, EADs, AP, those are work permits and travel permission, L1s, all that kind of stuff. I should be having an L1 intercompany transfer approval notice coming in the mail pretty soon. We have to fight for it, but we got it. It shouldn't have been a fight. It should have been an easy approval. But USCIS has become very, very, very difficult recently, making the work very hard and time-consuming and complicated. But as you saw, with the DACA situation is unclear. When the embassies and USCIS is open up, all that's unclear as well. And all we can do is try to do what we can. So right now, I have several cases I'm working on preparing the embassy work. So although the embassy is closed and not seeing interviews, we're still working with the National Visa Center to at least get our clients their place in line so they're ready to go. Also working on, filing for adjustment of status cases. Again, although we don't see an interview coming inside, we still want to apply with the work permit, all that kind of stuff. We have to do it. K-1 fiancés, what else we're working on? People applying for passports, N600s, people realizing they're citizens when they even know it, so we're going to get them citizenship. All that kind of stuff is happening. On Facebook, Christiana asked, R1 visa file for green card, and now out of processing time, email USCIS. They said they're doing background checks for the past 2 months. Now, what could be going on? Thank you for all you do. You're welcome. Well, thank you. I mean, I have another case like this as well. It's been pending a year past normal processing times because they're doing background checks. The client had told me beforehand that to expect that, but it's nothing bad. You can file a lawsuit, but other than that, you just have to wait for them to figure it out. Power Beast, thanks for watching. Fellow immigration attorney, good to see you. Pinky asks, my mom is on her B1, B2 visa. I've already extended her 6-month visa. Can I extend a visa again? Well, you could extend again. Now, whether you'd apply to extend again. Now, whether it's approved or not, that's another scenario. It has happened. I've seen it happen. But whether you can do it, whether you can apply, yes. Whether it's going to get approved, that's going to be up to USCIS and the arguments you make and the luck that you have. Sandeep says, hi, sir. When is open Social Security office? I don't know. Call the Social Security office and ask them when they're opening. Nancy Tobe says, great job, John. Best regards. Well, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. Okay, Saib says, if someone divorces after 2-year green card, can he keep his green card or 10-year green card? Well, maybe you have to apply to keep it and document the relationship well to show it was not a fake relationship. And, actually I had a call over the weekend of a woman really worried, freaking out. She had not used an attorney and she had asked her friend, oh, I have a 2-year green card. I want to get my permanent green card. What do I do? And the friend said, oh, you file Form I-90. Now, Form I-90 is what's used if you have a 10-year green card, it expires, and you're going to apply for a new 10-year green card. That's Form I-90. You can apply for it online or by paper. I usually do paper if I'm going to do it. But when you have a 2-year green card, you have to file Form I-751 removal of conditions, not Form I-90. And so this woman got a denial notice, was freaking out, really scared. Her green card had expired, and now she gets a denial notice, and she thinks she doesn't have a green card. Well, the problem is she is in a bad situation because you're supposed to file Form I-751 with evidence of the relationship before the expiration of the 2-year green card. And in this case, she didn't do that. Green card's expired, so probably she'll need to file the I-751 now, but there is a chance that she will get a notice to appear, NTA, notice to appear in immigration court for removal. And she'll have to argue in front of the judge potentially to stay here if USCIS doesn't pick up her case for late filing because it's past the window of time that she had to file the I-751. Now, USCIS will probably accept it and let the case go on, and hopefully the court hearing won't happen, or if it does, work with the court to have USCIS finish its work. But it's a mess of a problem. It's much more expensive, and all these risks and stress are dealing with it because she didn't bother. Frankly, you don't have to consult the immigration. She could have gone online for 2 seconds and found this answer, or just got one of these live shows like I'm doing to ask. But now the person is stuck with a mess of problems, wasted a bunch of money and time already because they filed an I-90 when they're supposed to file an I-751. So these are the things, you got to take, responsibility for what you're doing. If you can't fully understand it, don't ask a friend. They don't know what they're talking about. Go talk with a lawyer. But having said that, I have another case right now where someone did go to a lawyer and they destroyed their case. So I don't know what to tell you. It's luck. Just throw up a coin and see what happens. Very disastrous situation where this person had the benefit. They could still get it, but they threw their life in a loop for the last 10 years now because of just incompetence, and probably was not an immigration attorney. It was just a lawyer that took the money and said, oh, you can do immigration. It's easy, isn't it? Just filling out a form. Well, it's not. These forms are complicated. It takes me a long time to study and get this stuff. It's going to be just as difficult for everyone else. So it's not saying getting an immigration attorney will fix everything, but you got to research online tools that we have now. It's much easier to research who is a good immigration attorney, who's not. I did a video last Friday, I'm editing right now, hopefully it'll be out in a couple of days, that breaks down the 8 steps on how to find an immigration attorney, how to find and choose an immigration attorney. I go through the process I would do if I was going to pick an immigration attorney. And now it's not a guaranteed system, but it's the best way I would do it. And I really designed myself personally to make people who think about the process the way I do find me through this method, because I'm a good immigration attorney. I can help them really well because I care about what I do and I spent time on it. And I'm like, well, if someone wanted to find me, how would they do that? And I break down the 8-step process on how to find and choose an immigration lawyer. That'll be coming out in a couple of days. It's actually a video version, almost half an hour, of the first chapter of the Marriage Green Card book, marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. You'll find the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook there. But I go through the 8 steps of what you need to start with, where you need to go, what you need to think about, what questions you need to ask, and at the end of the day, what you need to focus on before making that decision to hire an attorney who's going to have your life in their hands. So that's really important to think about that, and hopefully I'll have that on the next couple of days. I'm going to do a lot more of these dedicated videos. As you know, I used to do a Monday through Friday live broadcast. Now I'm doing Monday through Thursday, and on those Fridays, I'm doing really detailed videos that are much more complex, so I can get the answers out that people are looking for, and so it should be a lot of material. Best thing to do is to go to YouTube page for JQK Law, JQK Law Firm, or JQK Law. That's the best place to see that kind of information. Let's see if you have any questions on TikTok. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I appreciate that. Let's see. Pink asks, since I extended her mom's tourist visa, haven't received approval letter. Does that mean your stay is not approved? Well, if you apply for an extension, it's pending. No, it's not approved. It just means it's pending. When it's approved, you get approval notice. If it's denied, you get a denial notice. That's that. You really should consult an immigration attorney. It seems like you have some more questions probably there that's going on based on what you just asked there. So what is the situation? People are here right now. They're afraid to leave the United States. They're on a tourist visa. What could they do? In this case, they filed the form I-539. It's online or in paper nowadays. There's a biometrics appointment required for it too, unfortunately. But that's an extension. It's an extension of your visa. That's when you want to do a B2 extension of tourist visa. You file that. And you ask for more time. It takes forever sometimes. Sometimes it gets done in 2-3 months. Sometimes it takes 9 months to get approved. Even though you could ask for 6 months, you can even ask for a year potentially, depending on the reason and stuff like that. But typically, you ask for 6 months of time. But they're so backed up, it takes even longer than 6 months for them to even review the application. And potentially you might get what's called a RFE, a request for evidence, saying we need more documents before we can make a decision on your case. It didn't used to be that bad, but I'm getting RFEs on these extensions that ask for the kitchen sink. They want all your bank documents, proof of home abroad, reason why you're here, everywhere you visited when you're in the United States, all this kind of stuff. Nowadays, you can make the argument that I don't want to leave because of COVID-19. It's much easier than saying, you know, they want to stay because of tourist visa and all that, but it's a headache nonetheless. So that's that. Now, some people enter with what's called the Visa Waiver Program, or ESTA, ESTA. In those kind of situations, you cannot file an extension of your tourist visa. Essentially, you don't even have a visa. You have just a permission to come here for 90 days. So in those cases, if it's, you could get a special extension of 30 days. It's a lot of work and it's not reliable. But if you see, like, for example, there's no airlines going back to your home country because stuff is shut down, you could potentially contact USCIS or contact the local CBP. Some CBP airport customs offices will do it, some won't. It depends on your location. Very hard to know if you're not a lawyer. Or you contact USCIS, maybe the 1-800 number. They may tell you to contact CBP. CBP may tell you to contact USCIS. They'll pay these gains, but eventually you can maybe get a 30-day extension and maybe a second 30-day extension if there's extreme circumstances. But it depends on the case, and it depends on the officer that you're dealing with and the office that you're dealing with. That's the problem with immigration. It's different every time. You never know what you're going to be getting. And so that's the stuff we're dealing with. But that's the ESTA program extension, and the one I talked about that before is the tourist visa extension, a B2 extension, for example, with Form I-539. Now, if you're on other types of cases, if you're on an H-1B and L-1, if you want to get an extension, that's Form I-129. That's a whole different thing. But I-539 is for tourists or dependents of L1s, H-1s. I'm going to make it complicated if I keep going on talking about all these alphabets and numbers and stuff like that. You should probably just consult an attorney if you really need it. But that's the idea. I just wanted to let you know there's different forms for each one or processes. It's not just one size fits all, unfortunately. So you got to be careful with this stuff. We have a question from AZ asking why my I-751, that's removal of conditions, is taking forever. Potomac Service Center, it's been 13 months. How long more wait? 13 months is within normal processing time. Check out USCIS.gov. 13 months is just regular time, if not more. You could easily wait 18 to 20 months. Ruslan says, I did my interview for asylum and my kids sing 2016. I'm still waiting for the result. You know, if you did I'm not sure what your question is. You're saying you did an asylum interview in 2016, 4 years later, they still have not given a result. Maybe they have and you missed it. So, I don't know. Consult with an attorney, see who's doing your work on your case. Maybe, I don't know, there's something going on. It's weird that 4 years have gone by. You may have to contact them, file a lawsuit, but first talk with the lawyer and see what happened. You may have missed a document, because that sounds peculiar for something like that to happen. Not unheard of, but some peculiar. Sandeep says, sir, I watch all your videos on YouTube and TikTok. Well, Sandeep, thank you so much for watching. My numbers have gone higher. It's friends like you that are watching. Hopefully this information can help you and your friends to give you guidance on what's going on. And hopefully I'm getting better at being humorous and making it much more fun to listen to that than just dry legal stuff. I'll do my best, but I appreciate it, Sandeep. Thank you very much. Valerie asks, if I get stopped by the police and I get a warning, does that affect my residency if I'm in progress? I don't know. It depends on your case. So if you just got a warning, no, but a warning is not a big deal. But this is too case specific for me to say if it'll affect your case or not. I have to get to know what exactly happened, what situation happened. Unlikely, but I can't give you that kind of advice. That's a one-on-one kind of advice that I can't do here. We'd have to schedule a consultation and talk about your case for me to give that case-specific advice. So definitely consult with a lawyer. It's just, I mean, you probably have a lawyer. Hopefully do if you have a case in progress. This is why you have a lawyer, because they're familiar with your situation. So when something pops up, they can quickly jump on it and have answers ready, and that's what we're here for. I know it's costly, it's expensive, but it's good to do if you can. It's one of those investments you want to make. Take Talk says, how long approximately from acceptance of civil documents to interview abroad for CR1? There's no answer to your question, Take Talk, even approximately. So just be patient is the answer to that. You just sit and say, okay, when they call me, they'll call me. In the meantime, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to talk with my loved one overseas on Skype or whatever. I'm going to do my work. I'm going to read some books, all this kind of stuff, and not think about how long things will take, because I'm looking for something that has no answer. And let's say I had an answer, approximately it's 5 months. Your case could take 2 years. So it makes no difference what approximately is. It's really however long it takes for your case to get completed, which is no answer. So you just have to be patient on that kind of stuff. So we're nearing the end. We're in the last parts of the show. If you guys have some final questions, let me know. We'll get into it. We'll talk about it a little bit. If not, I'll be back here again 5 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, Tuesday, July 28th. I'm going to be on Instagram, JQK Law Firm page. Instagram's a lot of fun. We get some good questions there, so I'm going to enjoy it. Not on Facebook, Instagram, but I'm going to be on TikTok Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. And the videos of this are on YouTube, along with clips and and other types of videos and images and all this kind of stuff. So I strongly recommend going to YouTube, if not right now, in 5 minutes, and typing in YouTube JQK Law. Go on that page, it'll be a picture of me as the avatar on there. You'll know it's me, and just click subscribe, like, and get that, ring that bell to get more information. So I'll take one more or two more questions that are coming up, and I'll just talk about one more thing about how we're doing things. In general, we get this question a lot. Are things open? Are they happening? Well, they may be. That's the answer to this kind of stuff. Sandeep says, thank you for your information. You're welcome. So, you know, I have cases where people are fiancé visas. Sometimes they're given, sometimes they're not. It depends on the country. I have one fiancé visa case in Europe. That's going to be a problem getting the visa because of the travel ban. But, you know, some embassies in Europe, for example, because there's a travel ban against people who have visited Europe in the last 2 weeks. But some embassies are coming forward now saying if you're doing an E2 visa, for example, E2 is an investor visa, non-immigrant investor visa. So people starting businesses and temporarily here. And those people, they'll issue 30-day exemptions from the European travel ban so they come to the United States. So it's very nuanced how some embassies will do, some won't, some apply to different cases. So at the end of the day, you should really just, if you really want to do something, just do it and see what happens. I mean, consult with an attorney, make sure it's okay. But it's just, everything is so different. And I know I've tried to keep track of what each embassy says and how they're doing things. And then one day they say this, one day they say another thing. The neighboring country says another. It's just impossible to keep track of all of it unless you just have one case and you're following it and keep an eye on it. Delachair says, K1 visa stuck at USCIS for 14 months. How long do we wait? Well, there's no how long. It's like you got to get it unstuck really and find out what the situation is. Maybe contact USCIS, maybe contact your local congressperson, or if needed, ombudsman or lawsuits. We got to see what happened that it's stuck. Did they issue an RFE that you missed? I don't know. It seems kind of peculiar for it to take that long. We got to look into that and see why that would happen. My K1 visas right now are getting approved after around the 6 or 7 month mark. So after 6 or 7 months compared to 14 months in your case, there's something going on. It shouldn't take that long. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know your case, so I can't really answer that. But I'd be worried too and annoyed too if that happened. So, you know, when people ask all the time, how long does this take? And all of a sudden I say how much these things are. You know, I have estimates of it. You go to uscis.gov and they have estimates of how long it should take, and after it takes a certain amount of time, you can file a complaint. And so I base it on that. But it's easily a case could take however long they want. There's no fixed time for sure that'll happen. And Delachair says, yeah, stuck for background checks. Yeah, it depends on your case. Those background checks is really hard to do anything unless you really file a lawsuit. Unfortunately, you got to see what country your fiance is from. But when background checks come, only really lawsuits, or maybe the ombudsman can help. Ombudsman, but probably lawsuits would be the way to go. So, yeah, I should pop my head. I should contact the ombudsman for one case that's taking a long time. But that's about it for today. Thank you everyone for joining. I really enjoyed coming here and talking about this stuff and sharing the information, knowledge that I have. As always, I say this a lot, but go to YouTube, JK Law, catch the latest information. If you missed something here, if you want to hear it on repeat, the video will be posted there. And secondly, go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook to download the ultimate marriage green card ebook. I think you'll enjoy it. I think it's the best one out there. Last question, user 960 says, how long it takes to be solved after a file lawsuit? There's no answer to that. It's not how, it depends on how they want to handle it. But that may be the last resort. But thank you so much for your questions. Christiana, thank you again for posting your question. I'll see you all tomorrow on Instagram, JK Law, TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John, and on YouTube, JK Law. From God bless and be safe, everyone. Bye-bye.